Nice. And one more thing, and this is something which everyone wants to know. This is so like, do you guys get paid for problem setting for testing? So is there any payment, any monetary benefits?
Yeah.
Yeah, hello everyone. Today we have a special guest on our channel. We have Jay Sharma, who's a master on code forces from IIT ISM Dhanbad. So today he'll be telling us how to set around on code forces. He'll be sharing his journey of how he set around on code forces, and everything about it. So Jay, would you like to say hello?
Hi guys, my name is Jay Sharma. I am a third year student from ITISM Dhanbad. I have been a problem setter at Code Forces and CodeShare, and I will be sharing with you the whole process of setting a round on Code Forces, like everything about it. So let's
Okay.
start.
Yes.
So first, let's talk about the eligibility criteria. Who all are eligible to apply for problem setting on Code Forces? According to the new rules of Code Forces, in order to be eligible to be a problem setter, you need to be either master or above on Code Forces, or you need to be a problem setter in the past. This
Okay.
rule has been applicable from 1st of January 2021. So whoever has proposed a round before that and doesn't meet this criteria now will still be eligible to be a problem setter. And in case there are multiple authors of a round, then at least one of them should satisfy the eligibility criteria. Moreover, this eligibility criteria must be satisfied when you propose a round, and it does not depend on your max rating or at the time when your round comes.
Okay.
So this was all about the eligibility criteria who all can set. Once you are eligible for setting, you will see an additional tab on your sidebar. Like in my profile, you can see this additional tab, propose a contest problems. Here you can propose contests, and within contests you can propose problems, and all the things happen here. So let me show this tab for you. When you open this tab, you will see something like this. Here you can see four things: propose a contest, contest proposal, propose a problem, and problem proposals. So first, what you need to do is you need to propose a contest. Here, when you open propose a contest, you will need to fill three details. First is the name of the contest, which by default will be a username followed by the date when you're proposing the contest. Then you need to select a type. In code forces, you're allowed to set two types of round. One is division 1 and division 2 rounds, and other is only division 2 rounds. So division 2 rounds are easier to set, and division 1 rounds are a little bit more difficult,
Okay.
where you need harder problems. And in comments, you can write what other details you need to include about the contest, whether it is a part of some college fest of yours, and who are your co-authors and all that. You can include here.
Okay.
Once you propose a contest, uh, you will see a contest proposal like this. Initially, you will have no problems in that. What you need to do is you need to propose a problem within the contest proposal. Here, you need to fill these things. First is the name of the problem, like you wish to name it, and secondly, it's a difficulty. Now, difficulty you need to estimate how difficult a problem is. Division 2A, Division 2B. You can even have intermediate difficulties if you are not sure about the exact difficulty of your problem. You can have it up to difficulty division 1F.
Okay.
In the origin, you can mention from where you were inspired to create this problem, or whether it is a modification of some older problem or not. Like you can just mention it here. You need to note that even if your problem has a origin or a source, it does not mean that you are not eligible to propose this problem. It can still be accepted. And if your problem is completely original, and it is completely created by you, you can select this option, no origin.
Okay.
Next is contest proposal, which by default will be the proposal that you are proposing in. So this was the proposal I had proposed for code forces around 7:30. Here you need to write the problem statement. Now you don't need to write a big stories and all. Here you just need to write a formal and short statement, and you need to also approximate the constraints that you need. And in the solution, you need to write a solution, just the details, not the whole code or the implementation details. once you propose a problem, you will see it in your contest proposal like this. Mm, yeah. So these were the problems that I had proposed for my contest. This will be know that it was the division 2A in my contest. So let me show you how does it look like in the contest proposal. Like here, you can see the story and the problem statement along with the constraints, and in the solution, you can see a small kind of tutorial, and you can even edit your solutions and problem statement using this edit option. Once the all the problems are completed in your contest proposal, you need to open your contest proposal to review. Like initially, whenever you propose the problems, all the status of the problems will be as in draft. Now you need to change the status of your problems from draft to review once your all problems are completed. Then when once you have changed your problem status to draft, it will be visible to the code process coordinators. Now what you need to do is just wait for some few months until your chance comes. Like there's a huge queue for problem setting on code forces, so it takes quite a lot of time for response from coordinators to come. So you just need to be patient. And after a few months, one of the code process coordinators will comment about the problem. So they may either change your problem status to in work or decline it. So if your problem is acceptable, they will change your problem status to in work. And if it is not good, then they will simply decline your problem. So you
Okay.
can see I had proposed around 10 to 11 problems, and out of them 7 were accepted. So
Okay.
like this it happens, and you then need to wait a few months more, after which you will be assigned a contest round number as well as a date for your contest. Now this also takes a little time, but once you have been assigned a coordinator, and once your this one contest date and schedule all are fixed, then you need to start preparing the problems that were accepted. So the out of all the problems that were accepted, the coordinator will select the best of the problems and will tell you to prepare the problems. Now the next important work is preparing them. For code forces, all the problems are prepared on Polygon. Now in Polygon, you need to log in. You need to create an account and you need to log in. And after logging in, you will see the dashboard like this. Here, initially you will not have any problems because initially, whenever you start, you won't be having any problem proposals. So you need to add a new problem here. So basically, when you add new problem, it will tell you to give the problem name and uh, like the simple things, whether it is uh, for which contest, and what is the standard input, standard output, time limit, memory limit, and is the problem interactive or not.
Okay.
So this is the general info that you need to fill up. Once you fill up this info, you need to fill all these tabs one by one. First one is statement. In the statement, you need to write the problem name, the story, the input format, output format, the explanation of sample test cases known as notes, and a small tutorial which you wish to include in the editorial of the contest. After writing the statement in files, you can upload the generators. Now what generators is, I will explain this in the category tests. Now generators are basically programs that you need to create large test cases. Most of the time you will see large constraints, 10 to the power 5 numbers of array, something like that. So for that you can't manually generate all of them. So you need codes called generators. So all those generators you can upload here in this section files. Here you can see that in this problem I had uploaded two generators, generator handcrafted and generator randomized. You can give any kind of generator that you feel is necessary. In the checker, you need to specify what kind of answers will be correct for your problem. Like most of the time, when you have a single correct answer for the problem, then you will be using this NCMP checker where it will compare the integers that the program outputs and the actual value which it should be, the expected answer. So NCMP compares like that. FCMP compares lines, like it is more strict. It will compare the spaces as well as the line breaks and all that also. Then you also have a yes no comparator checker. You also have some floating point comparisons, like this allows 1e minus 4 error in floating point, this allows 1e minus 6, and this allows 1e minus 9. You also have the case insensitive yes no, and you can even write a custom checker. Now a custom checker is important when there can be multiple answers to the problem.
Hmm.
Sometimes in the statements you will find if there are multiple answers you may print any.
Yeah.
So how does the program check whether the answer that you have outputted is correct or not? So for that you need to write a separate code which will check whether your program's output is correct or not.
Hmm. Okay.
So those are custom checkers.
Okay.
Next is a validator. In validator, you specify what kind of constraints are there for your input files. So this is basically a small kind of code written using the testlib.h library. Here you specify the format in which the input it should be provided. Like in this problem, there should be a variable t defining the test cases, which has a constraint 1 to 5000. Then for each test case, you have two long integers uh, from 0 to 10 power 18, known as a and b. And then you specify where there is a space and when there is a line break. And at the end, you need to read EF. So this is a simple kind of code that checks whether the input given is valid or not, and it satisfies the constraints or not. Most of the time, validators are used to check whether the hacks that are applied are valid or not.
Yeah.
After validator, you have tests. Now, this is the most important part while creating a problem. Test cases, as you know, check the correctness of the solution as well as the complexity over different kind of scenarios. So first of all, you need to include a example test case. So this is usually a manually generated test case, a small kind of test case, which you wish to include as example in the problem statements. After that, you need to include some hidden test cases. You can use the generators that you had uploaded in the files. Now, this basically generators are used using this file called script. Here, you need to specify the generator name followed by the parameters, and then you need to provide the test case for which test case number for which that test case will be used. So you can find all these in the documentation of testlib.h and Polygon. You can understand all these from there in details. Moreover, after you add test cases, the coordinators and other people who have access to problem like the testers can also add test cases which they think should be there in the test cases. Like as you can see, the coordinator here has added a few test cases which he thought was necessary and missing.
Okay.
So this is how you create test cases. Next, you have solution files. Now this is the place where you upload solutions and check them. Like you
Oh,
yourself
okay.
upload solutions and check them. So one file which is compulsory here is a main correct solution. You can also include wrong solutions and make sure they fail.
Yeah.
Like this solution which I wrote here was guaranteed to cause an overflow
Hmm.
issue, and this should have given wrong answer, and it did give wrong answer.
Hmm. Okay.
So like this, you can also check if wrong solutions are failing or not. And
Okay.
other people like the coordinator and the testers can also check their solutions here.
Yeah. Yeah.
After solution files, this is invocation tab, which is used to run your solutions. Like after clicking run your solutions, you will get an option which solutions you want to run and on which test cases. So this is self-explanatory, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
After that, this is issues. This is the place where the coordinator and other people raise issues. So like you can see here, one of the coordinator has raised an issue that the constraints are too high and
Yeah.
slow IO won't pass. So
Hmm.
like this, you can raise, the others can raise issue and you can rectify that.
Yeah.
Then you have something like packages. This is something which is used to temporarily store your work. Like by chance, if you delete your working copy or something like that, then you can use these packages to restore whatever you have done till that far.
Okay.
So these are kind of checkpoints you can. After that, this is manage access where you can give access to this problem to people like the coordinator, the translator, the code process check system.
Oh,
And
okay.
once you have done everything, you need to commit your changes. Don't forget to commit your changes, otherwise your changes won't be saved.
Okay.
After you commit your changes, you can again changes if you need to, and then recommit them and all. So this is basically how you create a problem. Now there is one more thing known as interactors, which are used in interactive problems. So I will show you that also. Like
Okay.
this problem in my contest was an interactive problem. So there is another extra thing which are added in these kind of problems known as the interactor. Now, an interactor is a program which interacts with the solution that is submitted.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, interactive problems, the solution will print some output, then the grader will give some output, and then again the solution will print. So, an interactor is the grader which behaves, which means interacts with the program. This is all about creating the problems. So, after you have created all the problems, you need to add them to a contest. For that, you need to first add a new contest, and after you add a new contest, you need to add the problems to the contest. Like it's quite easy. After you open a contest, you will find an option to add a new problem to the contest, and you can add all the problems to the contest and number them according to the difficulties A, B, C, D, E, all that. And after adding a contest, the coordinator will move it to the Codeforces platform. Now, first of all, what happens on Codeforces is testing. So for that, you need you and the coordinator both can invite other users as testers for the round. It's totally your choice and the coordinator's choice who are you wish to invite for testing, and
Okay.
just you need to make sure that they're trustworthy and they don't leak your problems and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
So what they will do is that they will just attempt this whole round as a normal user would during a code forces round. They will get the problems in a similar fashion as a normal code forces round. They can submit the code and they can even see their standings, like how much they have solved and how much the other testers have solved.
Yeah.
So like this, the problem setters can estimate the correct difficulty of their problems. Most of the time, what happens is that the problem setters think a problem is much easier than it actually is. So
Yeah.
all these are discovered during the testing phase.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is all about the testing. Moreover, if there are some issues with any kind of files in any problem, or if there are issues with the problem statement, if it's not clear and all, then the testers can also raise issues and uh, the setters will correct them. So after testing is done, you need to decide two more things: the pretests and the score distribution. Now, score distribution is generally decided by mutual understanding between the coordinator and the setter. They will see like how many testers have solved how many problems, and accordingly they will give a score to each of the problem. All the scores must be a multiple of 250, and that's the only restriction in score distributions.
Okay.
And once the score distribution is decided, the next thing is to select pretests. So pretests are, as you know, they are a prefix of the original test cases on which the program runs during a contest. After pretest, there is a system testing. So in system testing, all other test cases are run. So it again is a choice of problem setter, what test cases he or she needs to provide as pretests. Usually, it is recommended to give the strongest test cases as the pretest, because if people will get FST, fail system test, then it won't be good.
Yeah.
So this is all about setting the round. And after all this is done, the final contest is created. Now, in this contest, this is the contest where everyone attempts the code forces round, and what you can see is the code forces around 7:30 from the view of a manager kind of view. So what this looks similar, except that you have some additional things like this administration tab, this edit tab, this rating tab, and here you will find a lot of comments. These are the comments that the other users who are attempting the contest ask during the contest. As soon as the contest starts, people will start asking questions and clarifications regarding the problems, and you and the coordinator both need to answer these comments as they come. And almost during whole of the contest, your time work will be to answer these comments and to make some important announcements if there are necessary. And here on the side, you can also see Teams lecture status, and these are the hacks which have been applied. So all these happens during the contest. Now, once the contest is over, the only task that is remaining is to write a blog entry of the editorial. Now, editorial, it's again your choice how you wish to write it. You wish to write it with hints, or you wish to write it just as a full solution. So I like this kind of editorials where you provide some hints and then the whole solution. So this thing, you need to create a draft and then you need to share it with the coordinator. The coordinator will verify all the uh, solutions and the tutorials, and once this is approved, you can post it publicly.
Okay.
And after the editorial, your job is basically done. Then the system will do the system testing and rating changes for setting a problem. Sorry, for setting a round on code forces.
Okay, so after like everything is done, I have two questions. So, like, first question,
Okay.
how was your experience in all of this? Because it seems like a lot of work, it seems like a lot of work to do. So, would you like to do it again, or do you think that it was too much stress and all?
No, actually, it was quite enjoyable. Like, definitely, if you do it once, you will get to learn a lot of things. I was completely new to this polygon system, so I had got to learn a lot about this polygon system and creating problems on it. And secondly, uh, there are like a lot of time is given to you. There is no restriction. Like what happens on Code Chef is that the contests are scheduled beforehand.
Yeah.
These contests on Code Chef, they have a schedule. Like the long challenge is held in the first week of every month, and then the cook off in the second week, all that. But on Code Forces, there is no kind of schedule. Whenever you complete the contest preparation, then only they will provide a schedule to it. So you are free to take as much time as you want. So there is no restriction on that.
Okay.
So like it looks like a kind of stressful, but it's not that hard. Once you create a single problem, all others will feel easy.
Okay. So, would you like to do it again given the chance?
Yeah, definitely. I have one more contest proposed, and it's still in queue. This time with a co-author.
Oh, nice. And one more thing, and this is something which everyone wants to know. This is so like, do you guys get paid for problem setting, for testing? So, is there any payment, any monetary benefits?
Yeah, actually there is a payment. Compensation is given to the setters based on their round. For a Division 2 round, I think it's around $200. For a Division 1 and Division 2, it's around 400, and for a global round, it's around $800. So all it depends on the quality of problems that your round has, and there are some extra bonuses if there are no issues while conducting the whole round.
Okay. So that 200, 400, $800, that's for the whole round. That's not for a problem, right? That's for conducting the whole
That's for
round.
the whole round. That's for the whole round, yeah.
Okay. So if someone has only two, three problem ideas and they want to suggest those problems, then do they need to create a whole round for that, or they can just appear as problem setter for the rounds?
Currently, only full contest can be proposed. However, you can propose contest in team. Like there can be 4 to 5 problem setters even in the contest. There have been even, I think, 13 to 14 problem setters in a single contest.
Yeah.
So what you can do is that you can connect with some other people who you think have good problem ideas. You can collaborate with them and then propose the whole round at once. Like currently, Code Forces does not allow partial rounds to be proposed.
Yeah.
You need to propose a whole round, but it allows a team round, a team kind of contest. Like you can propose problems in a team of 2 or 3 people or how many you want.
Okay, understood. So I guess that explains pretty much everything. I think you covered everything that there is to creating a round, and I really hope that this video, this tutorial, will help anyone who wants to create any round or wants to have any problem setting. So thank you so much, Jeff, for taking out your time and coming on my channel and explaining this. Thank you so much for that, and best of luck for your future.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Ashish.